Don't buy a condo in Florida? Not yet anyway. Before buying a condo in Florida, watch this video. Because one thing that I am always asked about is, should I buy a single family home or should I buy a condo? And there is many great reasons why to buy a condo, but there's plenty of reasons why you shouldn't as well. And today we're going to dive into all of these. I'm routinely asked about condo ownership and how it compares to single family. And I think condo ownership is fantastic, but I do think you have to ask yourself some very specific questions, starting with your lifestyle. So condo ownership to me is all about the lifestyle that you want to live. For instance, I would ask yourself, does living in a smaller unit, a smaller home that is easier to maintain, where there's less need for maintenance such as yard care, the worry about having to replace your own roof, you don't ever have to worry about painting the exterior of your building. Those are big reasons why people like condos. Also ask yourself, am I looking for an amenity-rich community with pools and workout facilities that you wouldn't normally have if you were living somewhere else? Another major question to ask yourself, do you want to be close to major attractions such as beaches, restaurants, waterfront, shopping, dining, farmers market activities? And would you prefer not to have to get in a car and drive everywhere and prefer to walk to things? Because this is a big difference in condo ownership, as condos are normally located closer to amenities than many single family residents. Another great question. Do you love the thought of socializing with neighbors that are close by? Also, there is a sense of security that you get when you live in a condo that you may not get in single family residence. For instance, your neighborhood may be gated. You may have security at your front door. And so there is a sense of security and also being able to know your neighbors very well. So a lot of people love that being condos. Answering a few of these simple questions will help you determine if condo ownership is right for you. Florida has 3 times the amount of condo units and buildings than any other state in the nation aside from Hawaii. So you can see that condo ownership is huge here. Actually, in Sarasota, Manatee County, 40% of all residential real estate transactions involve condo units. Typically, when people think of condos, they immediately think of large multi-story buildings, similar to apartment complexes, but condos can be in all shapes and sizes. We have many 2, 3, 4-story condo buildings, and we also have single level condos. So there's many options when it comes to condo ownership. Remember, a condo is an individually owned unit in a complex or building of units. A condo owner owns the space inside their condo. You're responsible for the inside, and you will need to have insurance for your contents and interior components. And then you share ownership interest in the community property, such as the floors, stairwells, and exterior areas, and the community pays insurance and maintenance on the building throughout monthly HOA fees. And this is where condo ownership becomes a bit more complicated for many people. Condo owners may also have a special fee or special assessment in addition to regular fees for major repairs to the common areas. We're going to go just a little bit deeper into some special assessment and HOA fees, but if we haven't met yet, I'm Lisa McBride with Sarasota Neighborhood Experts, and my team and I help buyers and sellers and investors purchase, sell homes here in Sarasota, Manatee County. So if we can be of any help, just give me a call today. Now let's get into some reasons why, even if you answered yes to all the questions at the beginning of the video, condo ownership may still not be for you. Condos are going to come with sets of rules, regulations, declarations, lots of things to adhere to. And for some of us that maybe don't always love to be rule followers, this may get a little tricky. For instance, you're going to have restrictions on if you can lease your property, how often you can lease it, what times of the year, days, months. Another restriction is pets. A lot of people have pets, and most buildings are going to have a restriction on size of pets, if you can have pets at all. I know there are buildings that say no pets at all. I know there's buildings that restrict size of animals. And also, if you do have a pet, you have to think about how easy is it to walk your dog, or is there a dog park on site, or do you need to come down 16 floors to go out every day? So those are restrictions that you're going to find in condo buildings that are major for a lot of people. The next major issue that is facing today's condo owners has to come down to special assessments. Now, in the past year, Florida has changed legislation around condo buildings, condo ownership. Recently, there is new inspections that all condo buildings have to perform, and one is called the SIRS, which is a Structural Integrity Reserve Study. This is large here in Florida because now all buildings over 30 years of age have to have a study every 10 years on how the components of the building, your structure is, when the roof needs to be replaced, when the elevators need to be worked on, if the pool needs to be refinished. Everything with the components of the home are going to be tested and looked at. And now we have to have reserves for these items moving forward. In the past, HOA boards were able to agree to not budget for reserves. So you can imagine if you owned a condo that you did not want your HOA fees to be high. So naturally, they did not charge you to reserve for capital improvements coming down the road. Also, if you've lived in a building 3 or 4 years and had just gotten a new roof and new paint, you're thinking, I don't need to pay for something that I'm never going to use or that was done prior to my ownership. But now that has all changed. So these SIRS studies are going to show everything that's going to need to be replaced in the next 10 years. So imagine you live in a condo building that's 32 years old and they're saying in the next 10 years, you're going to need to re-roof it. You're going to need to update your electrical. You're going to have to put in new security. So that's going to be quite a bit of money over the next 10 years, and the reserves may not have enough money for that. Your HOA fees are going to have to increase to cover that. Well, that might be all natural and people expect it, but what if all of a sudden the cost to operate the building, such as insurance costs, maintenance costs, landscaping costs, have doubled in the last year. And all of a sudden, those fees, on top of the repairs that are going to need to be done, make your HOA fees double. Well, that's what we're seeing happening here in Florida. And most of those fees are not even going to be able to cover all the repairs needed. So the next step is special assessment. So not only are your HOA fees monthly going up, but most condo complexes are now charging $10,000, $20,000, $40,000 special assessments to help fund these reserves that need to be in place. This is a lot of money. And for a lot of people on a budget, they're really questioning if this is worth it for them now. Because although the convenience of condos are great, the locations are great, at some point, is it worth the money? That is what we're facing today. That is why people are shying away from condos. But again, I'm not saying condos are not good options, and we have so many of them here and so many in excellent locations. So we really have to weigh the pros and cons of condo ownership. Now, I've recently talked to a number of condo owners that are part-time residents, and they've suggested that they're just going to rent out their unit a couple times a year so they can offset some of these expenses, which makes perfect sense. However, before you do that, I highly recommend you talk to your accountant. And that is because if you turn your second home into an investment property, it may change the way that you file your taxes. And you may not get some of the benefit that you would normally have. Or if you go to sell that property and you've been collecting rents, it's now an investment property that you're going to pay taxes on differently. So before you do anything, I think it's a great idea to talk to your financial planner and your accountant regarding your condo unit. If you'd like more information on condos, if they're right for you, where the best condos are, different price points, because we have condos from $250,000 all the way to $10 million or more. So let me know how I can help. Give me a call today. I appreciate you watching, and until next time, take care.